Hey guys, Miss Waits here. I'm going to give you a little tutorial on metric or converting metric units. We've been talking about this week, and we've talked about how King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk helps us to remember what order all these letters go in. And we need to remember that base right in the middle is standing in for meter, liter, or gram. Okay, so depending on if you're talking about length, you're going to measure with meters. If you're talking about liquid or capacity, you're going to measure with liters. And of course, if you're talking about weight, you're going to measure with grams. So most of the time they're already going to tell you what you're measuring with, and they want you to convert it from one unit of measurement to the other. So let's check out the next slide here. The next slide is the notes that you have in your journal. I know all of you will not have your notes on you right now, so I made this little slide for you to remember that liter is capacity, gram is weight or mass, and meter is length. And then what the abbreviations are. Now, when I say right here this is kilo and it stands for K, you're going to see it as km for kilometer, KL for kiloliter, or kg for kilogram when you see it behind a number. Let's talk about, all of these are the same, but if you talk about centimeter, you're going to have cm for centimeter. You're going to have CL for centiliter or CG for centigram. So when you're talking about these abbreviations right here, you are putting them with one of the bases. So you're either putting them with meter, liter, or gram. If you're talking about one of the bases, meter will always be just an M by itself. Liter will always be just an L by itself. And gram will always be just a G by itself. So the bases, you'll notice, have just one letter that represents them. All of the other ones will have two letters, for instance, like kilometer, or centigram, or millimeter. So if you ever have just a plain M, it's not milli, it's meter. MM would be millimeter. And so you could have millimeter, milliliter, or milligram. Okay, hopefully that's all making a little bit of sense. And so let's do a couple practice. All right, so on your assignment, you were given some problems that were already set up. So for instance, you had something like 18, and I'm sorry if this pen doesn't work very well. I'm trying to write with a stylus. Okay, so 18 milliliters equals how many liters? So they're telling us that we have milliliters right now, which are very small, and we want to go to liters, which is a little bit bigger. So the first thing we're going to do is write our King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Okay, milliliters is going to start under milli. Liters, because it is one letter by itself, we know has to be a base. So we are now going to be going to the left, we can see. So when you're making your little dips here, you're going from letter to letter, not in between them. So we're going one letter, two letters, three letters. Now we can count that we have 1, 2, 3 dips, and we're going to the left. So I always put left 3 to help me remember. Now remember, when we do these dips, we're talking about moving the decimal, okay? So every number always has a decimal in it. If you do not see a decimal, you know it's a whole number, and the decimal will always fall at the end of the number. So every number has a decimal in it. Even if you don't see it, it's always going to be at the end if you don't see it. So let's say we have 18 milliliters. We need to go 3 places to the left. So we're going to move it in between this time. 1 place, 2 places, 3 places. My decimal now ends up over here, and in this little gap, I have to put a 0. So now we've got 18 thousandths. So 0.018 would be your answer. So when you're using this chart, you're talking about moving the decimal because the metric system is based on powers of 10. We're either multiplying by powers of 10 if we're moving to the right, and don't let me mess this up. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. See, I can't talk and do it at the same time. Okay, so if we're moving to the right, we're multiplying by 10. If we're moving to the left, we're dividing by 10. But all of the metric system is based on tens. So when I go here, I'm going times 10, times 100, times 1,000. And that tells me that 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams. So pretty neat. For every one of these little dips, there's a 0 here. Okay, let's do another one. So what if a problem tells you that you've got so many kilograms? Let's talk about, for instance, you have 8 kilograms. And they want to know how many grams that is. Okay, so, whoops, almost forgot my G. Kilograms and grams. So, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Okay, kilo, K is here. G is what? I hope you all said base because it's a single letter. We know it has to be in the base. Plus, hint, hint, there's no G's here in our line. So, 1, 2, 3. So we're basically going to be multiplying 8 by 1,000. That's what we're saying. So if you take the 8 and your decimal's here and you move it 1, 2, 3 places and you get 8,000, isn't 8 times 1,000 8,000? That's exactly what we just did. Okay, now let's talk about the ones that you have to do that are 7 through 14, I think it is, or whatever other number that is, where you're having to compare. Okay, so let's compare 7.5 kilograms to 75 grams. Okay, so I just made a little boo-boo here. Hold on. That needs to be... See, I can fix this real quick on this cool screen. Okay, so we're comparing them. We want a greater than, less than, or equal to sign. Okay, so in order to compare them, I can't compare kilograms and grams together because they're not the same size pieces. Okay, a gram is very small. Remember, it's about how much a medium paperclip weighs. A kilogram is about 2 pounds. So those are both very different. We need to convert one of them to the other one's unit of measurement so that they are the same. I always start with the first because it helps me stay organized. So if this one is already kg, I want to change this one to kg. So I'm going to start out with 75 grams equals, and I'm going to change it to kilograms because I want it to be the same measurement as here. So I'm going to do my King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. I'm starting at grams, which is a single letter, so I know it's a base, and I'm going to kilograms. 1, 2, 3. Notice that I'm going to the left this time. That means I'm dividing. So I'm going 3 to the left. So I'm going to have 75, my decimals at the end, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. That tells me that 75 grams is equal to 0.075. Now, is 0.075, okay, wait, let me show you this. Let me change this because I have this cool little screen here. Okay, and I'm going to add a decimal here. I'm going to add a 0, add my kg. This thing's a little messy, but it's still cool. And I can now see that 7.5 is much larger than 0.075. I could put my greater than symbol, and bam, I'm done. Okay, so this is about 10 minutes of listening to me go on and on about my cool screen. So I hope it helped you. Remember that you can go back to this screen right here, and hopefully your teacher will leave it on the board if you need it to be able to look at this chart to be able to help you remember where all of the letters are and what they stand for. Okay, remember to do your best, and we'll talk about it more and review it more in class tomorrow. Thanks. See you soon.